Hey everyone, I'm Ria, and this is episode 2 of my YouTube series. Hey, I just woke up. I usually journal early in the morning because it's nice and quiet. And by the way, please forgive my voice. I have a cough, but I'm getting right to it. Today I'm reflecting on my language learning journey. Learning a new language as an adult is difficult, but from speaking a few words to B2 level in only 8 months was a huge accomplishment for me, one that I'm so proud of myself for. Before we moved to Germany, my husband and I enrolled in once-a-week classes in the adult learning school in our city library in England for a year. It was good to participate in, but was not enough at all. When I moved to Germany, I seemed to forget everything and only remembered how to say Hallo and Danke and the days of the week. I was so scared talking to people, and I always made sure that my battery is full and the internet is well functioning when I got out so I could use the translating app. By the way, these washi tapes are gorgeous. So the top one is from the Coffee Monsters company and the bottom one is from Salam Creative. I'm going to link them both in the description box down below. I'm not quite liking what I did at the top there, so I'm just going to tweak it a little bit and make it shorter just to cover the date, I think. It's okay to make changes. It's not going to ruin the paper. Don't worry. I find that the TRP is a little more resilient than what we give it credit for, so that's fine. I think that's much better. Okay, back to my language learning journey. So we moved here in July 2023, but I never really got to settle until mid-September. So at the end of July, my husband and I flew back to England to get married. We traveled with family. We traveled just by ourselves to the south of France. So we never really settled until mid-September. And then I started my A11 or A11 German intensive course at the end of September. Now, just a disclaimer, I'm not a language teacher or an expert. I'm not here to sell magic tips for instant fluency, and I know that not everyone can move abroad and fully immerse themselves in a new culture and a new language. I also know that not everyone has the time, energy, or resources to do an intensive course. But what I can do here is reflect on my experience and share what this was like in case you're learning a new language, adjusting to a new country, or just doing something new, something brave and unfamiliar. And if you're journaling with me or just listening along while doing your own thing, I just have something for you to reflect on. What's one small win you've had in your learning journey lately? It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you learned a new word in another language, you've had your first conversation in the native language, or if you've moved to a different country, maybe you got yourself a tax number or you registered yourself in a Hausarztpraxis or a GP. It doesn't matter. You can share it in the comment section or write about it in your journal and we can all celebrate it. My German language learning journey started with A11 or A11. It's the most basic level. I still remember the first day of class, I was completely surprised that everything was taught in pure German. At first I thought, oh my God, how am I supposed to learn this if I don't even understand the teacher? And I was on my Google Translator app all the time. Our class was a cultural melting pot. Many people coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different parts of the world, and none of us could speak a sentence in German. So it was quite interesting. It wasn't always easy. Some classmates didn't take it seriously. They skipped homework or came late. And honestly, I found it frustrating and it felt a bit disrespectful to the teacher and the rest of the class. But I reminded myself that we all came from different backgrounds with different priorities. Some of the younger students wanted to study university in Germany, and older students like me are trying to meet the language requirement to work. So different priorities and different methods of learning, I guess. So I just focused on doing my best. And I realized that at this stage, vocabulary is everything. It's the foundation. So I made flashcards, lots of them with articles because der, die, das, these are absolute nightmare. It was so hard to remember if a table was masculine or if a book was masculine or neutral. Like, why was it even a thing? Like, who decided that? See, my two native languages, Filipino and English, don't have these distinctions. Like, sure, in Filipino, we took some Spanish words and incorporated it to Filipino, but the language itself is gender neutral. And in English, it's just the table. It's not masculine or feminine, it's just the. So it was a bit of a trip for me, and the flashcards seemed to help me in the most effective way to remember the nouns and their corresponding articles. And so I named this flashcard collection Make German My because that's what I wanted at the end of the course, and I wanted to win so bad. So if you're at this stage, my advice is focus on building vocabulary with context and use flashcards to review the words and always include the articles with the nouns so you're not guessing later. So now I'm going to talk about the next step, which was the A11. So this was when grammar crept in and we learned about concepts like the perfect tense. It was my favorite actually because it helped me tell stories about my weekend, what I did, and just construct sentences that aren't in the present tense. And, things got harder, so I turned to YouTube. My favorite channel was Your German Teacher because they explained everything in English as well, and it made things click faster for me. And what worked here for me is that I supplemented my course with online resources that explained grammar in my native language. And I was not afraid to take advantage of the online resources that was available to me, and that helped me a lot. And then the next level was A2 or A2, and this was the transition. Suddenly, it wasn't just about surviving conversations or ordering a cup of coffee or some bread in the bakery. It was about sentence structure. So I started listening to podcasts, not for full understanding, but to train my ears. And this was the time when I used the translating app less and less when I read because I forced myself to guess the meaning of the text that I'm reading through context. And sometimes I got it right, sometimes I was wrong. It's part of the learning journey. But the beauty of studying a language is that you can always correct yourself. And the Germans are not shy to correct you. I found it really helpful. And at this point, I was also trying to be confident talking to native speakers. I mastered the phrase, Entschuldigung, ich bin kein Muttersprachler, which means, sorry, I'm not a native speaker. And könnten Sie bitte langsamer sprechen, which means, could you please speak slower? I found it really effective to let the native speakers know that, hey, I'm not from around here, but I am trying my best integrating myself in your language and culture. And I think that made them warm up to me. And the non-natives would also be so encouraging and really boosted my morale. So my tip for A2 is to listen to native content, even if you don't understand everything. Don't panic, trust your vocabulary, and just think that you're training your brain to feel the structure of the language. And then B1. B1 is where it got real, like grammar exploded. And our teachers often said that the A level was baby steps. They were teaching us how to crawl, and B1 was going to be a very steep learning curve, and they're not going to do hand holding anymore. So we had to cope with it. I often found myself confused because I was still trying to make sense of the concepts in my native language, in English. We also had to give structured presentations in German. And what I did here was I practiced every day. I recorded myself so I could listen to my speech during my morning commute. At first, it was awkward, and I was very conscious of my accent, but I got over it. I'm not a native German speaker. I am expected to have an accent. And what I learned in B1 is that not everything can be and should be translated to my native language. Some things don't make sense in English, and I just have to accept the concepts as they are. With speaking, practice speaking with structure and record yourself, time yourself, rehearse like you would for a job interview. B1 is about clarity and coherence. You're not just speaking anymore, you are presenting. And then B2. This was my goal because B2 was the minimum language requirement for practicing nursing in Germany. So I was really preparing for the TELC B2 exam. My brain was so exhausted. Like, I swear, some of the concepts taught to us at this point were probably already C1 level, but I didn't mind. I wanted to learn and elevate my German speaking. At this point, we had to learn a lot of synonyms because the texts we had to read and the audios we had to listen to were using more advanced vocabulary. So to get ready for my TELC exam, I bought workbooks and took lots of practice tests, and I timed myself to get used to the time pressure. And I also partnered up with a classmate and used tips from our teachers and gave each other feedback, really. I passed my TELC B2 because I practiced a lot. It wasn't aiming for perfection. I just wanted to pass the minimum language requirement. And I did it within 8 months of learning. Looking back, it was never about being the best in class. It was about showing up, even when I didn't understand a single thing that day. It was about being consistent, about being kind to myself when I made the same mistake for the 5th time. And it was about celebrating little wins, like ordering food or making a joke in German. So thank you for spending a few minutes with me this morning. I hope this reminded you that progress is never linear. You will have good days and bad days and a lot of confused days. Some days you might feel you've taken 1 step forward and the next day, 2 steps back. You may compare yourself to another classmate or someone you know and get frustrated with how slow you are doing. It's okay. Your journey should not be compared to your classmates or to mine. Move in your own timeline. No one is competing here. Just persevere and keep showing up. And one day, you'll be like me, reflecting on your own journey and how far you've come, and it will feel good. If you are learning a new language, or just moved to another country, or just trying something new, I hope you had fun journaling and reflecting with me. You're not alone in this experience, and there are a lot more people that can relate to how you are feeling right now. And if they are able to succeed, you definitely can, and you surely will. So see you in the next video, and in the meantime, carry on, wayward soul.